What's going on, guys? Welcome in. I am Kadarius Washington, and this is the Sports Rundown. It's a pleasure to have you in as always, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Click that notification bell to be notified of when I post again, and also follow me on Twitter and on Blue Sky at CW Talk Sports. That's CWTALKS Sports, and I really only have one topic for you today. That's the NFL Draft. Yes, folks, the NFL draft is finally upon us. We had round one last night. We have rounds two and three later tonight, and then we have rounds 4 through 7 all day Saturday. It is one of the high points of the NFL offseason, and it gives hope to even the more hopeless fan bases in the NFL. As you see, I have my Panthers hoodie on as I am a long-suffering Carolina Panthers fan, and I have stories of us going into the draft having hope, expectations that maybe we're going to have a good season, just for all of that to come crashing down come week one. But nevertheless, it's hope for the hopeless, and it gives us something to talk about here on the Sports Rundown. As I said, we had round one last night, and I'm going to give you a little recap of that for you. So, number one overall, Cam Ward goes to Tennessee. No surprise there. And Coach Brian Callahan said that they were going to have some sort of competition. And they would know who their starting quarterback is in September. Now, listen, I get the idea of having a quarterback competition, especially with a young rookie quarterback. But in Tennessee, it's either Cam Ward or Will Levis. Let me say that again. It's either Cam Ward or Will Levis. That's all that needs to be said there. And then of course we get our first surprise at number two overall when a massive trade went down as the Cleveland Browns traded the number two overall pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they swapped picks. And Jacksonville lands probably the best player in the draft in Travis Hunter. Now, listen, I tweeted this out last night on my Twitter and on my Blue Sky. This year, no more excuses for Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback at Jacksonville, because he has been quite underwhelming in his career there. Despite the one playoff win a couple of years ago when the Chargers choked away that massive lead, Trevor Lawrence has done virtually nothing. And with Travis Hunter, now here's the thing with Travis Hunter, because a lot of people do not believe that Travis Hunter is going to be playing on both sides of the ball. So that is going to be an interesting question mark as we head into NFL training camp. But if the bulk of Travis Hunter's snaps is going to be at wide receiver, then there's no more excuses for Trevor Lawrence. He's got to get this thing going this year, and this is the weapon to do it. I really love this for Jacksonville. Of course, Travis Hunter returns home to Florida, so that's a good job there on both sides. At number three, the Giants take Abdul Carter from out of Penn State. I absolutely love the pick. It bolsters up the Giants defense. And of course, we get the news last night as Abdul Carter got drafted that Kayvon Thibodeau, the Giants picked up their his fifth year option on him. So that's a good move there for the New York Giant defense. At number four, the New England Patriots take an offensive tackle and Will Campbell. Now, listen, is it really the Patriots if they don't take a guard or a tackle in the first round? I mean, that's just the Patriots game. That's kind of how they've always been, especially now with their new man at the helm in I didn't forget the name. Mike Vrabel. Yeah, Mike Vrabel. I had a brain cramp there for a minute. And then at number five, the Cleveland Browns take Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, and I was upset too because that's the dude who I wanted my Carolina Panthers to take at 80 at 8 overall, but of course he was climbing on the draft board, so there was a chance that he wasn't going to be available there, and of course he's not. And here's a pick that I really like. Ashton Genty, number 6 overall to the Las Vegas Raiders. I absolutely love this pick. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, of course, getting Pete Carroll, the mastermind there in Vegas. Of course, in Seattle, we knew he loved to run the ball, especially with Marshawn Lynch. Now you got your Marshawn Lynch in Vegas and with Pete Carroll. So I absolutely love the pick. Incredible on all levels for the Raiders. And looks like things are may actually be turning around for the Raiders. Now, those the Raiders over the last few years have been one of those hopeless fan bases that I've been mentioning to begin the sports rundown. But things are turning around. I mean, they nailed it with the Carroll hire. They nailed it with signing Geno Smith, and now they nail it with drafting Ashton Genty out of Boise State. And then at number 7, the Jets, who are also in a full-blown rebuild, take a tackle, Armand Membo. And then my Carolina Panthers at 8 take Tetriola McMillan out of, I believe he came from Arizona. I think he came from Arizona at number 8. Now, listen, I'm kind of split on this pick because I know Carolina, we did need a receiver, and it's good that we have another receiver, another deep threat with size for Bryce Young. But I thought this was going to be the draft where we addressed our defense because Carolina's defense was historically bad last year. As a matter of fact, not just that, the worst defense in the history of the NFL. And so I thought we were going to be going defense, but we took offense. I mean, I'm not quite sold on the pick right now, but I am kind of split on it. So we're gonna see how everything turns out. I mean, we have a few more chances at defense. Of course, tonight we have the 57th pick in the second round. We have pick 74 in the third round, and then we've got 6 more picks to go as we go into Saturday. So we have a few more chances to land at defense, but like I said, I'm kind of split on the pick, but I mean, I understand it, but I think maybe defense probably would have been the better route. It's just me personally, but I'm just kind of split on it. At number 9, the Saints, who we thought were going to be contenders for Shedeur, they actually take a tackle, Kelvin Banks Jr. At number 10, the Chicago Bears go tight end, drafting Colston Loveland. Now, we thought it was going to be Tyler Warren because, of course, we thought Tyler Warren was the best tight end coming out of the draft, but clearly that was not the case. And so the Bears pass up on Warren. At number 11, the Niners get an edge rusher and Michael Williams. At number 12, the Cowboys pretty much get Zach Martin's replacement in Tyler Booker. I heard a lot of things on both sides about the Cowboys pick there. At 13, Miami gets Kenneth Grant, a defensive tackle. And then finally at 14, the Colts get Tyler Warren, which I think at this very moment is being heralded as the steal of the draft because I've been watching Tyler Warren's game, of course, coming out of Penn State. And I thought he was going to be selected at 10 at Chicago, like I just mentioned. I don't know really how he fell that far to 14. I thought maybe if the Panthers did, they did go offense anyway, but if their focus was offense, that maybe they could have gotten him along with Tommy Tremble in that tight end room. But that was a good get for the Indianapolis Colts. And then at number 15, the Falcons get Jalen Walker, the edge. 16, Arizona gets Walter Nolan. 17, the Cincinnati Bengals get Shamar Stewart. Number 18, Seattle gets Gray Zabel. Number 19, Tampa Bay gets Emeka Ibuka out of Ohio State. That was another receiver that I liked watching this year at Ohio State. At number 20, the Denver Broncos take Jahdae Barron. And then number 21, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, listen, Over the last few weeks, we were talking about the Steelers quarterback room and what they were going to do. Of course, right now, in all likelihood, I believe they're the favorite. They're the favorites to land Aaron Rodgers. Of course, he hasn't made a decision yet because, in typical Aaron Rodgers fashion, he has to make everything about himself. But the only quarterbacks in that quarterback room right now for Pittsburgh, Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson. Tell me you're going to win games with either one of those two. And so we thought they were gonna either land Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart. They go defense. They draft Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle. Now listen, I understand from a defensive standpoint because Cam Hayward for Pittsburgh is in the last couple of years of his career, so they figured they draft his replacement, give him about a couple of years or two to train study him and learn from him so he can be that next great defensive tackle for Pittsburgh. But this was the opportunity for the Steelers to draft a quarterback because the Pittsburgh Steelers do not have a second round pick. Let me say that again. The Pittsburgh Steelers do not have a second round pick. They don't pick again until pick number 83 in the third round. So I really don't know what Pittsburgh's doing from a quarterback standpoint because you're not winning games with Mason Rudolph. You're not winning games with Skylar Thompson. We don't know what the heck Aaron Rodgers is going to do. So I don't know why Pittsburgh decided, to pass on either one of those two. But nevertheless, Derek Harmon is on his way to Pittsburgh. At number 22, no surprise, the Chargers get another running back because in a Jim Harbaugh offense, you can never have too many running backs. They get Omarion Hampton, and the Green Bay Packers, for the first time in my entire 23-year life, they draft a wide receiver in the first round. They draft Matthew Golden, and then for the 24th pick, they get for Minnesota, rather. Minnesota at 24, they get Donovan Jackson. And then at 25, Houston trades the number 25 pick to the Giants. And we thought, okay, so this is it. This is it. Shedeur Sanders going to New York, kind of as we thought it would be in the third round before this week. They end up taking Jackson Dart. They take Jackson Dart, and Shedeur Sanders right now is still on the draft board. Now, listen, I know a lot of people are calling travesty that Shedeur Sanders did not get drafted in the first round. Am I surprised that he fell to the second round? A little bit. But am I shocked? No, because there's a lot of questions and a lot of somewhat red flags about Shedeur Sanders. And I've been saying this too. If Shedeur Sanders went by any other name, if he wasn't Coach Prime's son, we probably don't see Shedeur Sanders until probably the fourth or the fifth round. I mean, it's not really a travesty, but I do think he will get drafted at some point in the second or maybe the third round. Now, the big surprise would be if Shedeur Sanders fell to the third round. So that would be interesting there. And then we got another trade at number 26. The Atlanta Falcons they traded up to number 26 with the Rams, and they take James Pierce Jr. At 27, the Ravens take a safety and Malachi Starks. At 28, Tyleik Williams, the defensive tackle, goes to Detroit. Number 29, Josh Cunnerly goes to Washington. At number 30, Maxwell Hairston goes to Buffalo. Number 31, Jahad Campbell heads to Philadelphia in a trade as the Eagles and Chiefs swapped picks at 31 and 32. And of course, Jahad Campbell goes to Philadelphia with the number 31 pick. And then Josh Simmons goes to the Chiefs at number 32. And that is your first round selections for the NFL draft. So I have another story that I want to cover for y'all. Not really draft related, but nevertheless, Bill Belichick, who is the greatest coach in the history of the NFL. Of course, the new coach for the North Carolina Tar Heels. So they just opened up spring practice not too long ago. So this is a storyline that has been going on for a while now, but really haven't covered it in depth, but I kind of want to cover it now. So Bill Belichick is 67 years old. He just turned 67. The man is dating a 24-year-old girl. She's 24. When Bill Belichick became the coach of the New England Patriots, this girl was not even born yet. And I saw something on a couple of weeks ago, I think it was the girl's birthday, and Bill Belichick commented or captioned happy birthday to his half something, his half, I can't think of what it is, half part something like that. But anyway, a 67-year-old man dating a 24-year-old girl is just nasty on so many levels. Now listen, I just turned 23. A few years ago, I dated a young lady who was older than me by a few months, but older than me nonetheless. And I also dated a young lady who was younger than me by a couple of years. And I say that to say this. You are not gonna catch my 23-year-old behind with a 70-year-old woman. You're not going to catch me with a 60-year-old woman, a 50-year-old, 40-year-old. You know what? You're not even going to catch me with a 30-year-old woman. Me personally, 28. That's my cutoff as far as older women is concerned. 28 is my limit. And for younger, I say 18 for obvious reasons. I know some people talk about 17. No, too big of a risk. 28 for if you're older and 18 if you're younger. But that's me. That was an interesting story that I wanted to cover for y'all. And that's going to do it for the sports rundown. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and on Blue Sky at CW Talk Sports. That's CWTALKS Sports. I am almost finished with the spring semester of my master's program. So in about a couple of weeks, I'm going to be pushing out sports rundowns and women's basketball rundowns, especially with the start of the WNBA season and us getting preseason games on next Friday and training camp beginning on Sunday. I'm going to be pushing out a lot of that content in the next in about a couple of weeks or so. So be on the lookout for that. Nevertheless, I will see y'all the next time. Peace.